I don't know the rest of the puzzles that I presented in this video, but I think this one will be the best one without a doubt. Now for this puzzle manifold possibilities, we will try to cover most of them. Black starts with a great sacrifice, rook d1 check. Now there are two possibilities for white, either king captures rook, or rook captures rook. We analyze the first possibility first. Now the black respond with another sacrifice, knight captures pawn check. Now the white has lost his queen and is forced to play queen captures knight. Queen captivates queen. Now the white rook is threatened. We study black's reaction to any move he takes if white plays rook b1. He loses the match by 4 moves as follows: rook d8 check, king e2. Bishop g4 check. f3. Queen d2 checkmate. And black will do the same moves if white plays rook c1. Now there is only one more move for the rook, which is rook a4. Although black can get a rook with the move bishop b3 fork. However, he has an ingenious plan to win the checkmate, which we are studying as follows: rook c8 check. King e2. Queen c2 check. King e1. Queen c1 check. King e2. Rook c2 check. King f3. Queen d1 check. If king e4 takes a checkmate in one move, queen d5. So here white plays bishop e2. Queen d5 check e4. Queen b3 check, bishop d4. Queen captivate, bishop checkmate. Now what if the white played rook capture rook? Black plays knight captures queen. And here the white cannot capture the knight with the pawn, because he will lose the match by the following moves. Queen capture pawn check. King e2. Of course not rook d2, the white will lose with the move rook d8. Rook c8 threatens rook c2. It checkmate in 2 moves. Any move to white other than f4 loses the match by 2 moves, and this move will not save him everything there is, it will postpone his inevitable fate. Rook c2 check. If he palace king f3, he loses a fur by the move g4. So he plays rook d2. Queen captivate, rook check. King f3. g4 check. King e4. Queen d5 checkmate. That's why the search engine here suggested finding an escape for the king with the f3 move, instead of capturing the knight, and complementing the black knight c2 check, king f2. Now the white king can escape to square g1, later but better than other analyses of the situation as we have studied. I told you it was a beautiful ending. I worked hard to analyze the possibilities. If I missed something, please help me by mentioning it in the comments. Now a beautiful puzzle, its solution is logical and simple. You can pause the video for a moment to look for the winning move. Yes, my friends, follow the Board and Fire channel. The move is an amazing sacrifice of a queen and playing queen d4 check. Now there are 2 possibilities for black, either to play c5 or play queen captivate queen. In both cases, the white knight c6 is returned as a checkmate. He is the emperor of the pleasure kingdom of the chess world, Alexander Alekhine. His opponent here worked hard to defend the g7 square, but Alekhine hit him out of the blue. Now pause the video and think a bit about the solution. Yes, dear viewers of the Board and Fire channel, the move is knight captures h6. Now let's analyze the reactions of the black. Of course, if except sacrificing by the move pawn captures knight, queen g8 is checkmate. Or king captures knight wins Alekhine by the move, queen h8 checkmate. Now there are 3 moves to which Alekhine responds with the same moves. If black plays knight d6, rook e7, queen f6, or any other negative move, Alekhine gives a checkmate with the following moves. Queen g8 check. King captures knight. Queen h8 checkmate. Now the only move left to extend the match a little is g5. Alekhine wins by moves. Queen g8 check. King captures knight. Queen capture g5 check. King h7. Queen h4 checkmate. I do not know how long this genius will continue to amaze us, who was snatched from us by death because of his difference of opinion with a group of criminals. Now in this puzzle black is materially superior, as he threatens checkmate with the move queen d1. Now any player will defend checkmate, but in a genius glance, the white forced the victory with a giant move. The move, my friends, is bishop d7 checkmate. Now black has two options: either queen captures bishop, to get a checkmate with the move queen a8, or king b8, to get a checkmate with the move queen a7. Brilliant and simple, and any of us can apply it in his matches. Now, dear Board and Fire viewers, I found this puzzle in an old book of mine, and I wanted to share it with you. The puzzle, as you can see, will be able to win the white, because the black neglected the protection of his casting. Let's start the analysis. White begins with a wonderful sacrifice: bishop captivates g7. We begin with the first possibility, which is to accept the sacrifice of the black by move king captures bishop. Here is given white queen g5 check. The black have two options: knight g6, which is the search engine option, or king h8. If knight g6, although the white has a chance to recover his piece, it is better to play on checkmate with the following moves: h6 check, king g8, queen f6. Now there is no defense against queen g7 checkmate. The situation would not be much different if the black played here king h8. White will play h6, threatening checkmate on square g7. If black plays rook g8 here, he will take checkmate in two moves: queen f6 check, rook g7, queen captivated rook checkmate. As for the move knight f5, it prolongs the match a little, and white wins by moves: queen f6 check, king g8, pawn captures knight, and now no defense, checkmate with the move queen g7. Now that we have analyzed the black acceptance of sacrifice, which by the way was played by the match, the black will resign after two moves. Now what is the best response to black? The answer is f6. Although the chance for white to win by the move, bishop captures rook. However, the best move is queen h6. Now if the rook leaves the f-file, he loses by one move: bishop capture e6 checkmate. But if he played here the best move according to the search engine, which is knight d5, he would have closed that dangerous diagonal even if he sacrificed with his knight. White responds: bishop captivate rook. Rook captivates bishop. Pawn captures knight. Bishop captures pawn. Bishop captivates bishop. Pawn captures bishop. Now white has superior rook and immediately exploits it with rook d4 move. Now he has many ideas to win the match easily. It remains for us to study if the black decide to close the diagonal with their rook. White will win by the next moves: bishop capture e6, bishop capture e4, queen captures f6, taking advantage of the rook being pinned, and threatening to checkmate. Knight d5, attacking the queen and defending checkmate. Queen g5, rook e8, bishop f6 check by discover. King f8. Now a wonderful sacrifice: rook captures knight. Now two possibilities for black: bishop captivates rook, a proposal of search engine. Rook captivates bishop. We studied the first. Queen h6 check. Rook g7. Bishop captivates bishop. Of course the queen of black overload, protects the bishop and the rook and checkmate. Now the white can trade the two queens, the rook, and the bishop, and become superior with bishop. The second possibility here is that the black play rook captures bishop, which is the move which he loses the match by the following moves:
rook d8 check, rook e8, queen h6 check. Of course not the king g8, as he loses the match by two moves: rook captures rook, rook f8, queen capturing rook checkmate. So white play rook g7. Bishop captivates rook. If he plays king f7, queen f6 check, king g8. Rook captivate rook checkmate. If a queen captivates bishop, rook captures rook. If king captures rook, white plays queen captures queen. If he plays king f7, queen e6 checkmate. I hope that I have endeavored to analyze the most important possibilities of that beautiful ending.
When I watch such puzzle, I am sure that I have gone through these situations hundreds of times, and I lost a certain victory in my hands, just because I dealt with it negatively, but the white here found a genius and simple solution, and it is strange that most of us solved the puzzle, or solved it after knowing the first move. Now white sacrifices his queen g6 check. If the black accept the sacrifice of the move, pawn captures queen. White wins by the moves pawn captured pawn check, King h8 or king g8. Rook a8 check. The two sacrifices queen c8. And rook d8. Will not save the black from his inevitable fate. The white will win the same idea and the same moves, if the black refuses to accept sacrifice and plays king h8 or king g8 directly. Rook a8 check. The two sacrifices queen c8. And rook d8. Will not save the black from his inevitable fate. Can you imagine, dear viewer of the Board and Fire channel, that the white, who is late with rook, will win the match? Not only that, but he will win it by sacrificing with his queen. Now that I mention the solution, I think that most of you expected the first move, which is queen h6 check. If black refuses to accept the sacrifice, and plays king f7 or king h8, he loses by one move, queen f8 checkmate. But if he accepts the sacrifice and plays king captures queen, white ends the match with the following moves. Bishop f8 check. If king g5. h4 check. King h5. Bishop p2 checkmate. And if here black plays king h5. Bishop p2 check. King g5. h4 checkmate. Now a new puzzle, and as usual the solution is very simple. The only defense against checkmate on the h8 square is knight on the e7 square. If you find any other piece in its place, it will be checkmate. So the solution is simply rook captures knight. Of course if the black responds queen capture rook, queen h8 checkmate. Now the queen of black is threatened and there is no escape for it except the move queen d6. Queen captivates queen. Pawn captures queen. Now white is superior with a piece. We hope at the end of this video that we have entertained you and provided you with the most just thing that man has done in history chess. Do not forget to honor us by joining the channel, and pressing the like button. Your support is the most important thing that drives us forward.